Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. In this video I want to share all my experiences in previous recordings of my journeys through ancient Egypt and all of the hidden knowledge and all the experiences that I've been having throughout my life and especially after my spiritual awakening. So these recordings that you are going to see right now were recorded in 2013. And these are my initial reactions after I had the hypnotic regression with the QHHT practitioner and also my recountings of what I have experienced during my meditations and astral travels and vision type experiences that I had in this period of 2013. Thank you for joining me and have a lot of fun with it. This summer, I was led by my guides to a hypnotherapist who has studied under Dolores Cannon through her workshops and mastered and got a certificate about being capable of doing these regressions, which Dolores Cannon has developed over the years. I was very excited about it and I went to Budapest to do it. I had to travel a bit, but it was very worth it. At first I was very excited that there's going to be full of extraterrestrials and stuff like that, but it was completely the opposite. It was something unexpected, but it was very surprising, to say the least. In my regression, I went back to ancient Egypt, and I will try to describe it as quickly and as fully as I can what I saw and what understanding I gained of it. The entire thing began as I landed on the sand of the desert in front of the Great Pyramid of Giza and next to the Sphinx. I was dressed as a pharaoh. I had a double crown on my head, and an old man sat next to the Sphinx and pointed up to his apex, to the top of it, which was shining, because I found out later that it was a crystal. The top of the Sphinx, the top of the Great Pyramid was a great quartz crystal, maybe. It was translucent and white. After that I returned to the temple where I lived, and I believe in that time frame I was dressed like a priest, and I lived among the priests, and I went to the back of the temple where the, not sanctuary, I don't know how do you call that place, the back of the temple, which is the most sacred place of it, was a great statue of Thoth, and from that we knew that I was a priest of Thoth. And after we found this out, I was pointed by the other priest that I should go to the pyramid. I went to the pyramid, and you could enter at the middle, and through some chambers you can go up to be under a chamber which was under the great crystal at the top of the pyramid. I touched the crystal with both of my hands, and I sent, I believe, a message or a transmission up in outer space, and it ended up at Orion. And the message was that we are ready and that they can come now. And I saw Orion while I was in the pyramid, and a great ball of light, which had a smaller ball of light rotating around it, came back from Orion and hovered over the temple that I lived in. And at the entrance, a being beamed itself down from the great ball of light, and it appeared as Thoth in the statue that I saw inside the temple. Here is a painting that I did of Thoth, how I saw him. It seemed material, but I don't believe that he was. He was all blue and had a very strange aura around him. He entered the temple with some of the priests, went to the end of the temple where his statue stood, and did something. The statue moved out of the way and a passageway appeared to us. And I believe like 5 of us priests went down the passage and he closed the door behind us. We went down and as I understood it, we went, I believe, under the pyramid or the Sphinx, something like that. It was a large room, maybe a hall, which was formed as a Merkaba, and it was like a giant star from the inside, and it was made out of a very strange crystal. I don't know if I researched on the net what it could be, but I haven't found anything like it. It was made out of sort of blackish, translucent crystal, the entire inner structure, but we could stand around inside of it. We formed a circle with the priests. I don't know what we did, I just saw it. And Amun appeared. I believe he's the creator god as I researched him. He appeared in the room or that chamber, but he was very different from Thoth. He was immense. He completely filled up the entire room, and he didn't seem to be physical, rather more etheric, or he had an energy body only, because he had a blue electromagnetic light around him, and his body was maybe a very darkish indigo black sort of color, and he was very shiny. It was a very interesting material that he was made out of, and here's a painting that I did of him. And he leaned down to us where we were standing, and I believe he took up 3 of us from the priests, and we jumped with him out of that place through the pyramid, channeled through the crystal up in outer space and to the belt of Orion, and we ended up in another planet, which was a desert as well. And he put us down inside a temple, which was a copy of the temple that I lived in at that time. And we asked, like, what the hell just happened, and he conveyed to us that this is a sort of a reservoir, or like for the Indians, where a culture will disappear and a copy was made out of it, so some of it can be preserved for later generations as well. The entire temple was new, but looked exactly as ours down in Egypt, but it was only a replica of the original, and we were the first 3 priests to arrive there. After that, many structures were built as well around us, but we didn't understand what happened, and we asked Amun what did happen, and he showed me the earth as it was infested by a darkness or something like that, and we had to evacuate some of the culture and knowledge that was in ancient Egypt to preserve it, because it will be consumed by that darkness that is to come. And after that we went to the end of that life that I had, and we performed some sort of ritual with a pyramid once more, which had a similar crystal as the Great Pyramid in Giza, and we shoot off some sort of beam of light to the center of the galaxy, and it started to beat as a heart, the center of the galaxy, and it emanated some light waves through the outer rims of it. And we understood it from that it was some sort of catalyst or some sort of helping energy that will aid the transformation of the Earth and other planets as well in this age of transformation that we live right now. And I believe that that thing that we did back then with that pyramid is still channeling that energy that we initiated back then, who knows when. But the interesting thing about this incarnation is that I found out who he was, the priest slash pharaoh, I don't know exactly how it worked. I found out who he was. I'm not going to tell it who he was, but I believe when they went down to that Merkaba under the pyramid, his physical body died, or at least he left his body, because his mummy has been found. That person's mummy does exist and is well known of, and it was established that he was relatively young when he died. And when I regressed, I was asked how old I was, and I answered that I was similar that I am now, only a bit older, so that would make me then 30 something or something like that. So it concurs with the age of the mummy as well. Well, and after that he kind of lived another life in a different state. Maybe he received a different body on that planet in Orion's belt. I don't know exactly, because he died there as well, but as an old man who lived, I believe, hundreds of years. I was among the priests of Thoth, and basically this regression had the point that I remember my connections with Thoth, and so I can work with him in this incarnation as well, bringing forth his knowledge and stuff that are quite unknown to me so far. After the regression, he appeared to me several times and revealed to me the cube of Metatron, through which I have connected with Metatron as well. I do not understand it quite yet, that I believe Thoth is part of Metatron, or they are the same thing. I don't really know yet, but they are of the same oversoul, I guess. They carry very similar energies and teachings as well. In the last days I have found a great amount of interesting knowledge about Thoth and his teachings. I came upon the emerald tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, and they were an amazing experience to go through. I've listened to a video that I will post down here when someone analyzes it and reads it. It's about 4 hours long. It was a very interesting journey, but I managed to find it and I started to read it as well. I haven't read it quite yet. Yesterday I've only read like 3 lines from it or something like that, and I had a very interesting and strange sensation. I haven't felt such things by reading texts, but it has a certain energy to it. It felt like that I'm going down in some sort of trance state while I started reading it, but then I stopped because I didn't know where it's going to lead. But anyway, I finished listening to that video today. All of the tablets have been read, and most of it has been assimilated into me, but I'm going to read them further on. And I wanted to go outside to align myself, to meditate a bit, and I didn't want to do anything special. I just stood down outside in fresh air and aligned myself, and basically I sort of made a vow or an agreement that I will uphold the divine principles, and I've agreed to help bring forth the knowledge of the ancients that has been lost to us, and to help other people to understand it and teach it to those who wish to know about it. And I didn't imagine what this is going to trigger for me. After I aligned myself, I just wanted to stay silent, listen to the wind and stuff like that. And strangely enough, some palm trees appeared in my mind's eye, then a river, and I realized that I was on the banks of the Nile. And on the Nile there was Thoth on an ark, I believe the Sun Ark, or I don't know how it's called, through which they traverse the sky when it's day, then it descends when it's going into the night and goes on into the underworld while it's night. So anyway, Thoth was on the ark, and he invited me to join him. I flew over and stood next to him on the ark, and we sailed up the river, I believe maybe down to the Giza plateau. And if you've done some research about it, the Giza pyramid, the Great Pyramid, which Thoth built, is the entrance basically to the halls of Amenti, or at least it was built over the entrance. And we flew over the pyramid's top, and he helped me, and we sank into the pyramid. Then through the pyramid we went to the depths of the earth, somewhere deep within the earth, to the halls of Amenti. And there were the 7 masters of the cycles, if I remember correctly. They are some sort of like teachers or mentors of Thoth, I guess. Some of his wisdoms comes from these 7 more ascended beings. And he left me there and flew off as an ibis. He left me there with those 7 beings, and they've imparted me an ankh made of light, and I believe some other symbol that I don't remember it anymore. I guess it was some sort of feather or something like that. And what I felt, that I guess they made sort of a download like the ETs do, and then I returned to the surface and then back to my body. But the thing with the ankh is that since I've like very much ancient Egypt, I wanted to obtain an ankh, like a talisman or something like that for me, and I didn't manage to get one. Like it was impossible completely. By some synchronistic events, I couldn't get an ankh. And then I asked through meditation, like, what's up with this, that I can't get an ankh? And it was told to me that I have to deserve my ankh and to learn before I can wield one, because it has great power within it. And what has been given to me by Thoth back in the summer, that I have to become one with the Creator to obtain my ankh, to become immortal or something like that. I don't understand it quite yet. Here's an image after I finished the meditation and I came back inside, and at the other side of the building we can see the entire city because we are up on the mountain top. And when I exited on the other balcony, I saw this beautiful rainbow that was over the city. I've never seen such a complete rainbow like ever. It was very beautiful. The image is not the best, but one of my friends managed to capture it with his cell phone, so it's merely representative of what was. And as I got some info when I came home from my guides, that what occurred to me then, it was some sort of initiation or something like that. Well, we will see soon. Hello, this is a continuation of the Returning to Ancient Egypt video series that I started like half a year ago. Many people have requested that I continue it, but I haven't really had anything to talk about because nothing really came up regarding this subject. And now this summer, after a year that I have been to Budapest in 2013, I had a quantum healing session developed by Dolores Cannon, and there can be found many practitioners in Hungary as well, but not very here where I live. And so I took a little road trip to Hungary and I applied to this session, and it was of great use. And the information that came through me at that session were the previous videos. In this one I would like to share the new information that has come through in this year's healing session. In this session I have returned to the same past life. that I have explored in my previous QHHT session. And this time I believe chronologically the things that I saw happened before the things that I saw last year. So at the beginning I was at the Giza Plateau, and some of you may know, I will put some pictures in here if I can. There are some ancient megalithic structures there, or structures that are very different from the rest of the architecture, and I was at that place. People were getting stones from there and were transporting them somewhere else, but they weren't as big as most of the ancient structures. They were relatively manageable, and these stones were carried down through the Nile to an ancient temple which was constructed over another megalithic type of structure which was underground. And what I remembered was, in this underground megalithical type structure, I was standing down in that structure. There were stone circles similar to Stonehenge's ones. I was in the middle of one of the stone circles and performing some sort of ritual with some priests, and one of the ancient gods have appeared to me in that ritual and gave me their crown, and I believe it was some sort of initiation. I got an understanding of it, but I will not share most of it because it is personal information. The next important thing that was revealed to me was the moment in that life when I have given up my social status or position, and I have joined the priests and became one of Thoth's priests. And this was more elaborated in the previous videos when I was remembering being actually one of the priests. Another important memory that came back was the time when I was visited regularly by, I believe, maybe the same ETs that I am visited by now. I saw only the Greys, and they performed similar stuff on me at that time that they are doing right now. At that time in that life I was much more conscious than I am now, I believe, and at least I was much more conscious of them and their relation to me, because when they came to me in that life I was completely okay with it. I didn't care about it at all, and it felt like it was something that I was used to, and it was a very regular thing for me doing that type of procedures in that lifetime. I'm sorry for being this video very short. I am not able to go into many details about this experience because most of it is very personal, and I was advised by my guides to leave out several sections and details about this experience that I just had. So if you have any questions or interesting stuff you may like me to talk about, if I can, then please let me know. Thank you for listening and have a nice day. Namaste.